in a minute. It's already 11:30.
I think somebody is recording, right? More than one.
Yes.
Okay.
Manish.
Yeah. And I think somebody else is also recording in the audience.
Manish is recording. So
Good, good.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
we should start.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So will you lead?
Yes. So I'll
Thank
start.
you.
Yes. Okay.
Not start, lead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so good morning, everyone. On behalf of Miyamoto International, the Center for Climate Change and Disaster Management at IIT Mandi, and AIDMI, I, Dr. Aditi Singh, warmly welcome you all to this webinar on building resilience, the role of technology in landslide risk management. Today's webinar comes at a critical time as natural hazards like landslides are becoming increasingly frequent and severe due to environmental degradation and climate change. It is more crucial than ever to explore how we can leverage technological innovations to protect communities and build resilience. From advanced geospatial data to early warning systems, the tools we now have at our disposal offer new possibilities for proactive risk management. The focus of today's webinar is to explore these tools, understand their potential, and discuss how they can be integrated into practical solutions on the ground. To address this important topic, we are fortunate to have two leading experts with us whose research and contributions are at the cutting edge of landslide risk management. Our first speaker is Dr. Basantraj Adhikari, who is working as director at the Center for Disaster Studies, Institute of Engineering, Tribhuvan University, Nepal. He is Senior Research Fellow at the University of Melbourne and a visiting professor at Sichuan University. He has expertise in tectonics of Himalayas, climate change, hill slope movement, and human interaction, Himalayan sediment generation, landslide early warning system, multi-hazard risk assessment, community-based DRR, and nature-based solution. Dr. Adhikari has demonstrated low-cost and low-tech landslide early warning system in Nepal Himalayas and published more than 60 scientific papers and book chapters. He has conducted several projects on multi-hazard risk assessment funded by World Bank, USAID, and ICMOD and other development partners. Our second speaker is Dr. Venkat Udaykala. Dr. Uday is currently founding chairperson of Center for Climate Change and Disaster Management at IIT Mandi. He has 15 years of experience with 2 years in industry, 3 years in research, and more than 12 years in academics. He is one of the pioneer faculty of civil engineering at IIT Mandi. His research areas include landslide disaster risk reduction, nature-based mitigation solution, biogeotectonics, and machine learning in geotectonics. He is the author of 65 plus research articles, 4 grants, and 2 filed patents. Dr. Adhikari and Dr. Uday, I welcome you both. Now, before we proceed with the presentation, I would like to invite the esteemed director of AIDMI, Mr. Mihir Bhatt, sir, to kindly deliver the opening remarks. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My welcome to Aditi ji, to you, Uday ji, Adhikari ji, all the people who have joined this very important roundtable today. As you know, this is part of this is the second part. There is one already conducted before, and should you wish to find out about that and the outcome, please do send an email to any one of us and at AIDMI or even at the TG, and we'll be able to share more details about that. We also have plans that are emerging from the previous discussion, and the previous discussion very clearly indicated that there was a need to look at the resilience part of the landslides, especially the role of technology and resilience in terms of the risk management. So that's what we have today. Excellent speakers, an excellent moderation that we have. We have a short time. So I wanted to quickly make four opening remarks for everybody to consider for this session, but for future. One is that how the awareness about technology and risk management of landslide is is increasing, and how do we capture what we have learned already in the past up to present? How do we capture it? How do we put it together? And how do we utilize it for our planning and project purpose? Whom do we share it with? At what time? In what capacity? And this is something that we would very much be looking forward to in today's presentations, especially Dr. Uday, who has worked with a very range of international agency, funding agencies, and other national agencies as well. So one is that the lessons learned and the awareness part, and how do we do that far better, faster, and more effectively. The second is about that what is the cost of this of the loss and damage that landslide causes, and what are we missing, not only in terms of physical infrastructure, but in terms of the economic activity, social activity, and what is that cost, what are those costs, and how do we invest so that not only these costs are made up, but we are also able to have co-benefits, such as for response and recovery stage, for example, for recovery and resilience stages, including green landslide risk management. And we will talk about that as we move forward. And also ecosystem-based investments. How do we make that to reduce and manage the risk of landslide? The third, and there I would suggest that the both speakers, as well as discussions from the audience, we focus on that. We also have Dr. Adhikari, and especially that encourages me to put the third question for us as opening remark, and that is how do we govern the stages of our work, of course, from relief to rehabilitation to recovery, but what level we govern that, and within what sector, within the landslide management, there are various sectors, subsectors within which we actually govern. How do we access those sectors? And also, how do we relate what is being done, at least in the Indian case, but we should look at South Asia case as well, that how do we have the district disaster management plans clear indication of where the landslides are likely to be, and how disaster management plan will be addressing landslide risk management plan in the DDMPs and city disaster management plans, town disaster management plans, and also in the national disaster management plan. How do we strengthen the focus that it has on the landslide risk management and new technologies that we need to manage that? So that's a third opening remark. And fourth and last one is about, and this is again, we have the best speakers to tell us more about it, that how do we anticipate the landslide risk that is coming up? Who should be able to anticipate that? What do we anticipate exactly in terms of its impact, its spread, its timing, etc.? Will landslides risk accelerate? Will there be hotspots of landslides, which are not only spots but regions of landslides? And we already have some that we understand and that will be shared. But will there be new areas where such landslides take place, partly because of what's there on the ground or under the ground, but partly because the way development is taking place in those areas, in new areas? And will there be, cascading risk of landslides? So not one, but two or three landslides have been happening simultaneously. Not only landslide, but landslide and floods, landslide and heavy rains, and some of that we have seen already. And is that something is more likely to happen? Will there be compounded impact of landslides? Will there be more accelerated occurrence of landslides, and how do we deal with that? So that's the fourth question I wanted to put to the panel and to all of us to keep in mind as we go through this very important webinar series on building resilience, the role of technology in landslide risk management. I'm very glad that this issue is being taken up when there is no landslide. There's a lot of discussion about landslide immediately after, and then the interest discussion tapers down. But all of you have continued to take interest in this particular topic, and we hope to take this further, definitely to concrete actions at various levels. Thank you very much. I give it back to Dr. Aditi Singh. And again, my warm welcome to both the speakers, Dr. Uday, Dr. Adhikari, and all the participants. Thank you very much for joining. Today is an important day, as you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was, you have raised a very pertinent questions to all of us, to the speakers, and even to the researchers and academicians who are working in this area. So now we should move forward with this, and I'll request Dr. Adhikari to start with his presentation. Sir, please share your slide.
Can you see it?
Your screen is visible.
Screen one.
Yes.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible, but it
not in full screen, right?
Yes, not in full screen.
But do it. Screen two. Is it okay now?
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Let me start. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. Today, I will navigate you to the very important topic. Especially, this is very important in the month of IDDR, which is on October 13, and then so it's empowering youth on building resilience. So today I will just talk about some of the integrating geospatial data for landslide risk understanding, and this is the photo you can see is as from high Himalaya in Nepal, and this is actually a debris flow. But actually, if you go into uphill side, there are lots of landslides, and people are being affected by such kind of small or large event. And these are some representative examples. So we have been trying to understand the landslide phenomenon in the Himalayas. What are the causes, consequences, and what could be done? And if you look in the recent history or the recent years, the development of landslides is quite amazing. There are lots of things are being developed. For example, if you see the recent research in landslide, so especially using artificial intelligence and machine learning, which improved the advanced algorithm improved the landslide prediction with the big satellite data or the data repository that we do have in different part of the countries or different part of the world. And you can see here one example, how can we detect actually the landslide from remote sensing techniques and use the different algorithm to predict, as rightly said in the opening remarks by Mir sir, is that we need to predict the landslide in the future. So that's why this is the AI and ML is very interesting nowadays. Another, if you see on a broad holistic picture, you can see this real-time monitoring and early warning system, and this is the prime need for people, especially for the mountainous communities. People here, there are different kind of landslide early warning system. The in situ, which is localized, or the regional early warning system, which is based on rainfall threshold, or you can install the different instrument to measure the soil moisture sensor, stensometer or inclinometer whatsoever, and it can be connected to the satellite and to the computer and to the communities. I will put in some of the case studies later on that. So this is also another advancing things in the recent time. The another one, this is very pertinent because as in the Himalayas or in other part of the world, the impact of climate change is really, really, problematic. So that's why we should understand the climate change scenarios. And so if you look in the literature, different researchers have been incorporating different climate change models for the prediction of the landslides in different part of the globe. For example, this is one from Park and Lee. Here you can see the landslide susceptibilities change in different climate change models in different time frame using the different models. So that's why, I mean, we are not pretty much sure that what would be in future, but the prediction says that uh, the landslide occurrences will be affected by the climate change because due to the temperature increase and because due to the rainfall uh, pattern changes. For example, intensifying monsoon or the intense rainfall in a small amount of time or short time duration that is already been absorbed. So that's why the climate change scenarios we should understand for the landslide risk assessment. So another one, which is because in most of the developing countries, we should able to develop the community-based landslide risk management or risk reduction approaches, which is being very popular nowadays. For example, this is our study that we did in the Nepal Himalaya, where we use the different localized techniques and then use the different the information dissemination system. For example, here you can see how the rain gauge soil moisture sensor then goes to the micro controller, then to GSM, and then the receiver to the communities. And this is the more or the how the system works. For example, how these data the information transferred to the different responsible person through the siren or through the SMS to the imported person, and then we should go for the evacuation. And this is one of the very successful initiative that we have taken, and that is already been published in scientific journals. The another one is geospatial technology. Here I'm showing one of the studies that we have been currently taking under Triveni University of Melbourne, Australian Embassy here in Kathmandu, and then university in Italy. Here you can see this using of INSAR technology to understand the slope deformation or the land surface deformation for the better prediction of the landslides in the Himalayas. Also, this is in the very localized level, but we are trying to scale up this in the whole Hindu Kush Himalayan region. So these are some recent advancements that people are working in different forms, but these are few of many. You can identify different initiatives, but I like this, some of the aspect very much. So, after that, when you see this advancement of landslide risk management or risk assessment or, development of landslide early warning. So we have done one very interesting project where we use the frontier technologies for the landslide early warning system. Here you can see, we used drone UAV to create the landslides. And then we talked with the communities about the different landslide parameter, different, the four pillar of early warning system, especially for the landslides. And then we trained them what the system would be and something like that. So after that, we installed different instruments to measure the surface characteristics. For example, we installed the rain gauge. Here you can see, and we installed the soil moisture sensor in different level. For example, in below surface, here, let's say 30 centimeter, 60 centimeter, 90 centimeter, up to 1.5 meter, which gives you the real scenario of the soil moisture sensor, and also install the extensor meter. So combining this gives you the better result or better understanding about the surface dynamics on that region. And then if you see this, some of the web-based platform that we established in one of the local municipalities in Nepal, that is Bhimeshwar municipality, that is in the eastern side of Kathmandu Valley. And here you can see this precipitation accumulation from as prescribed by Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. And we use the citizen science concept here, where they are measuring and putting data every day, and you can define this threshold in different subsequent monsoon period, the rainfall amount, and then the landslide occurrences time. So this is a very interesting study or the initiative that we have taken, where the scientific community work with the local communities and to defining the threshold on that area. Not only that, if you want to understand the landslide, so for example, you can in the background we can see this big giant landslides in the Himalayas, in the Nepal Himalaya, and we use UAV or drone to design the flight path, and based on that we have gathered the condition of the landslides and the different geomorphic features, or preparation of engineering geological map of that landslide to understand the dynamics and mechanism, how these landslides are propagating or acting on that area. Here you can see some of the snapshots that we used the drone, and this is the drone image that we acquired, and these are some of the points that we have visualized. So this is very low cost technology. Of course, you need techniques of using drone and processing data, but it's give a very high resolution data set where you can analyze different components. And so that's why this geospatial technology or frontier technology is very important to understand. Not only that, for example, if you do a similar kind of analysis, and then based on when you create the digital elevation model, then you can run the landslide run out distance calculation, or you can use the different softwares to understand the debris flow. There are so many open access softwares or the paid version, but the ultimate thing is that this is a debris flow, so you model it, and you can see these yellow are the houses, so you can calculate the risk assessment. Not only the risk assessment, but you can design the engineering design, or for example check dams or retaining walls, or river training works or whatsoever, to protect the lifestyle properties in the mountains. So then after this study, we developed the Pahiro alert. Pahiro means landslide in Nepali. So this is a project funded by Start Fund Network with the different implementing partners and technical partners. You can see here, we use the different front-end, back-end algorithm or techniques to develop this web-based platform and mobile-based platform. The most important thing is that, for example, if you prepare the landslide susceptibility, and if you do the household level vulnerability or risks, then it gives you a real-time information, because we use this DHM 3 days forecasting. Here you can see the DHM forecast for readiness and action trigger, and then you get a different SMS. So it's not a blanket approach. So if you little bit zoom in, so this is the landslide susceptibility map, and then we have prepared the risk map. And then if you go there, for example, and if you use location on in Poido Alert mobile app application, then you get your risk level information in different source. But to get that information again, we use the different mathematical calculation about the rainfall, and then we define the threshold. So this is the line of threshold exceedance, and then you can define the landslide warning zone. So if this is the predicted value, then we can send the SMS to them. And so this is the government website. So from the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, as I already said, that 3 days forecasting, and these are the point clouds where points where we calculated a different rainfall amount in 3 days time, depending upon the DHM, but we have used other open access data platform also. And then, so these are the snapshots. For example, this is the Poido Alert landslides, and you can also, sorry, this is in Nepali version. But for example, if you are here, then you get information about the risk level, and you can populate different landslide data, which later modify or accuracy correction in our model. So we also define the web-based platform in, for example, in different municipalities, different boundaries at different layers. So we are trying to make this in the whole country to define the landslide early warning system in days to come. And then we went to the the targeted communities, what we call last mile communities. And then we explained to them what is the process, and then we took the feedback to them. And so we installed this is the station for rainfall, and these are some of the maps. So after that, see, this is the drill. So this is the SMS that they get in high, medium, and low, in vulnerability, and this landslide high, medium, low in the susceptibility. And these are the SMS they receive in Nepali language. We can send any language. So this is the drill. So we use the one case study or one scenario, and then we made a drill to make more understandable and feasible to the people. So after that, what we learned? So in my point of view, we just published a paper in 2024. So we need a dynamic data integration, because we cannot work in silos. So we need a different data system or data integration to define the landslide susceptibility or the hazard map in the mountains. Another very important that we need a localized risk mapping, because if you see the global scale mapping, it gives you a broader picture, but the most important thing is that how you do the local level mapping to understand at the local scale. Of course, there's always a resolution issue, but whatever the possible the image that you get, you can do it, and that is very practicable in the ground. Another one is that we need to enhance the early warning system. So we installed another early warning system, and we published a paper here in 2023 where we integrated rain gauge, soil moisture sensors, extensometers, and then we defined the threshold. And then after its automatic process, then people get the SMS alert, and then they can save their life and properties. So after all, what we are doing, that we need to mitigate the landslides. So we should have a nature-based solutions that is more feasible and practicable in the mountainous areas. Because if you develop the high-fi technique, science-fi technique, then sometimes in the installment, that's fine, but not all the time. So that's why we should be able to develop the low-cost and low-tech and community-based nature-based solution to define and to reduce the landslide risks in the Himalayas. Because if you see in the Himalayas, the interdisciplinary collaboration is very, very important. We just published a paper in 2021. Here you can see in the cartoon from the Himalayas on the top to the bottom to the river delta, there are different geophysical systems, potential hazard, and impacted sectors. You can list out many. So the hazard interaction, like Mears are also explained, the cascading and compounding impact the landslide block the river, and then the flood can trigger. Or if you go in the higher Himalaya, there is a glacial lake outburst flood. So combining this information, we should understand the interdisciplinarity. So that's why we need the interdisciplinary collaboration, because if you see in the Himalayas, these are very large landslides in the Himalayas, in the Nepal Himalaya, where we have witnessing this kind of different landslides in the other region. And we should protect our people and protect our natural resources and the people's livelihood. So that's why let's work together in this part of the world, and we need sustainable landslide risk reduction in the mountains. I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adhikari. This was really very insightful that we are doing interdisciplinary work, that we are protecting people as well as nature, because that is the need of the hour. Sustainability, nature-based solution, because we cannot keep on using the resources and doing the this urban thing with this. So I'm really like how scientific community are working with local community to tackle these resources. So that was really wonderful. Mayor sir, would you like to add anything to this? Okay. So now I request Dr. Uday to share his insight through his presentation. Dr. Uday?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Aditi. I'm just sharing my screen.
Yes.
I think the other should be unshared.
Manishi?
It says multiple presenters.
Yeah, Manishi, yes.
Yeah, please.
Now you can.
Okay. I just selected this slide.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you make it on full screen?
Yes. You're able to see a full screen?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So first of all, greetings to all the participants, and definitely the organizing team, AIDMI, and Aditi from Miyamoto. It was really wonderful arrangement, should I say, in starting from the first, when we talked about various requirements of the need of the hour on the landslide technology, landslide, and second, as you are focusing more on the role of technology. It's really wonderful how the things are getting into a different stage because of involvement of people from different domains and different knowledge areas. And thanks again to Professor Adhikari. I was at the moment I got to know that he's going to speak before me. I understood he is the person who works very extensively on the risk part of it. So I tried to manage, or I tried to put my slides very much confined to. I removed most of the risk part from my slides. Probably as we move ahead, you will be able to see. So thanks again to set up the context, which is very much required for understanding the role of landslide, the role of technology on looking at the aspect. So I thought because I have been working, should I say, for a very small time now, it's less than 10 years. We started to work on this particular area on landslide disaster risk reduction on a bigger context. Where in this particular presentation, I'm just trying to focus on a particular technology which is developed, an indigenous technology which has been developed at IIT Mandi. We also try to put it on the name of low-cost measures for monitoring landslides. And we are also able to get a good line of early warning systems, as again, very near to what Professor Adhikari was showing just before the presentation. I will also try to cover up a few case studies where we have recorded proofs that the monitoring and the early warning has really worked on a particular situation. And I will try to put a focus on how we developed that particular area, how we try to come into a particular line of developing a totally new monitoring systems for early warning of a landslide. So I'll be more than happy if there are good suggestions, and if there are suggestions and a good feedback on what needs to be changed in this, looking at the aspects. So quickly to start, as again, very much near to the points, I'll try to cover a part of, as I told you, we are talking new about landslide risk reduction, what we have done differently, and we are trying to see what we thought and finally what has been done to get the effectiveness of risk reduction. And definitely what has worked will be the major part of the whole presentation itself. And lastly, what we should be learning as we are moving forward on this technology, and we should also understand what are the limitations and how to take it with a pinch of salt when we are talking on these technologies. So to quickly line you up, I thought I'll also show you from IIT Mandi. I'm one of the first faculty in civil engineering. So the moment I shifted to this particular area of IIT Mandi, my area of research, which was earlier environmental geotechnics, so shifted to into a totally domain of this landslide related aspect. So this is the area, this is the land view or a scale view of IIT Mandi. As you can see, we have almost like 7 campuses, which are distincted by almost like 5 kilometers. And we are surrounded by, needless to say, it's beautiful Himalayan region. So needless to say, it's snow peaks. We have snow peaks. We have a wonderful river, which is just passing by the campus. And we really enjoy being in this serene part of the environment. But the moment you start to talk about reaching the campus, just traveling around 14 kilometers from the town center of Mandi to the IIT Mandi campus, you have to drive around 14 to 19 kilometers. And in this particular 19 kilometers, you should be seeing nothing less than 80 different type of slides, as few of them I have tried to highlight in the slide which you're seeing. Quickly, you can see there is a sort of a fractured rock. You can see the type of debris, the heterogeneous debris which is coming in. You can see the type of planar failures which we see on the rock slopes. And this is of very much interest to me because the depth of this particular slide is nothing more than half a meter. It's a very shallow line or a shallow line of failure. However, the extent is very high. And this is exactly one more reason why I also got interested towards this nature-based solutions. We are trying to see how best these particular disasters can be very well integrated. Apart from this, again, needless to say, these are the recent disasters. I'm sure most of you got to know, got to hear, got a lot of WhatsApp forwards last year, 2023, where we have seen a major disaster in the Himalayan region, 2023. The monsoons were much higher. As per the records, it's 400 times more than what it was expected to happen in this particular time. You can see the landslide which was happening in one of the video which I was showing. Further to which, few more slides which keep on happening. For us, landslide is like just outside. I say it is just outside my window, and it keeps on happening. And we also try to mitigate these particular aspects. However, when we are talking about all this, we somehow cannot avoid these particular situations where people who are sort of very much in line of this particular disaster. They really don't count the hazard or the risk associated with these particular issues, and they try to end up in these particular situations. So the need of the hour is definitely to avoid as many situations as possible. Further, somewhere as I was speaking to somewhere in 2017, we had a major landslide in Himachal Pradesh, Mandi. This is also called as Kotropi or Paddar landslide. The biggest problem with this is the size of the slide. I'm sure it is much comparable to what Professor Adhikari was showing in his slide. Also, it is almost like 250 meters height and 150 meters in width. And the worst part is the debris which has come down from the slide has moved on almost like a kilometer down the slope. And when we are talking about this particular debris, we should be saying that it was very fortunate that the landscape which was just beside this got a narrow escape, or it was because of more of a the terrain conditions where there was a stream where the debris has taken the path to flow by the stream instead of going exactly by the straight face. The slide expected should have been moving in this direction. However, because of the terrain conditions, it moved into a particular stream valley. While there was not major local incidents which have happened, however, unfortunately, because of a bus traveling at that particular point of time, was carried almost like 46 people lost their life in this particular disaster. And to see the time frame, if you look into the time frame aspect, apart from spatial and all the other parameters which Dr. Adhikari has already presented, if now I'm trying to bring in the point of time that that was just an incident, you can understand a bus which is traveling at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, even at an average speed of 30 kilometers per hour, would have simply took 7 to 8 seconds to cover the 150 meters of the width of the landslide. So even that edge of the time is what is more focused, or it is what of importance when we talk about landslide risk reduction. So this is the major motto, or this was the major motive behind why we started to work on this particular area of landslide monitoring. We thought if there was a buzzing, or if there was any monitoring system available there, we would have easily saved few of these particular lives, definitely. So this was a major consequence. When we understood the risk part of it, I normally cut the risk into simple qualitative terms of two. One is hazard and the other is consequences. I'll try to see what is the line of hazard, what is the extent of hazard, what is the amount of hazard, vulnerability, all counted in. Vulnerability comes in consequences, but yeah, mostly the probability of hazard, extent of hazard, what is the level of hazard. We will try to put it as a part of the scale of the hazard, and consequences are including everything, including the number of people around, the vegetation, the finances included as a part of this particular place, including some religious temples or other points of importance. Everything counted into the consequences. You can make a simple map or a simple point which looks like this. While depending on the requirement, depending on the intensity, depending on the literature, and depending on the need, we can cut this matrix into 5 by 5, 7 by 7, 12 by 12 matrices also are available based on the indexes and the levels at which you are cutting down the levels. So when we are talking about this, when we say high risk, people are definitely looking for some mitigation measure. Low risk is always sort of neglected, or people even we will not find it very interesting to get into treatment for low risk. However, something always falls in problem is the medium risk, especially in a point where the consequences are high. In this particular region, where the consequences are comparatively high, the amount of risk in this particular thing can be categorized as medium, but still there need to be something which is to be done in this line. That's where exactly we identified that it should be the point where we start talking about risk mitigation. When we have risk mitigation, as just now we discussed, where the points are very of high risk, then we talk about structural measures, where money is involved, where huge amount of funding and everything is involved as well as allowed. However, there are a lot of options we have on non-structural measures, which again very well given by Professor Adhikari. So he has also talked about the rainfall thresholds as a part of his presentation, followed by his susceptibility map and other data-driven maps, whatever he has shown in his presentation. Thankfully, as I told, it was really wonderful getting covered to this particular aspect. So this particular presentation, I have kept it very clear to talk about a field scale monitoring system which we have developed, and what are the points we have added to look into the field scale monitoring part of it. So when we talk about the existing monitoring systems, there are a number of options are available, including the GPS system, the LiDAR based system, which is again very much of use on this particular days. Again, we have seen the presentation earlier on this on UAV use of drones, how to make the susceptibility map, how to look into the various parameters and how they can be of use in this particular area. We also saw a photogrammetry related aspects as well, including to the end also Professor Adhikari presented also about the INSAR analysis, which is done in various countries, including Italy, Norway, Sweden, and all these particular areas where they're able to get a good line of hazard vulnerability, and accordingly they are giving early warning systems on this. And apart from this, we also have conventional landslide monitoring systems. They talk about piezometers, they talk about inclimeters, they talk about different of these particular methods. One of this again been presented in the earlier presentation. So in this again, I am looking to give you a quick idea about a lower cost MEMS based. So the MEMS is macro electromechanical systems. This is the recent development in the area of technology in the part of the world, and all of us are definitely carrying more of the smart gadgets, including smartphones and smartwatches, etc. We thought, can we make something like this on a smart landslide monitoring system? So that's where we started looking into various options, and we tried to fix in based on again the literature and some experience. We have tried to bring in a concept of looking at the weather conditions. Then we also have a rain gauge, a very nominal tipping bucket rain gauge. Then we also look into the soil moisture, which is getting generated or which is getting stacked on the slopes, followed by a measure by which we have a accelerometer, which is type of a movement detecting system. Again, the question comes, if you're talking about all this, how it is low cost is straightforward. An open answer for this is we are not going deep into the slide or deep into the surface. What we understood is whatever we are trying to do on the depth of the landslide or whatever movement is happening at the depth, we are able to see the signature definitely coming onto the surface because of any movement or tilt or slide or whatever is the condition which is generated on the surface of the slide. So that's why we thought it's good to be as it can be as good as monitoring on the surface itself in order to get a good idea. And definitely when you're talking about remote sensing and other opportunities, we are also looking into mostly surface sensing and surface deformation, so that we try to make it on the field and try to see how best this can be working. So for this, we have developed this sensing system. We have calibrated this at the lab scale. I'll quickly show you this particular video where the slide is happening, or a flume which is moving on the slope. We just wanted to see how the displacement is being captured by this particular sensor. So that's why I simply made the soil and tried to slide it over a particular flume. So I can tap the displacement and velocity by using the image processing. So now when I place my sensors, or the same slide when it happens and my sensor is capturing, probably you can see on the two of this, one where the displacement is getting captured, and the second I'm getting signals from my accelerometer, where we are talking about the displacements which are getting generated as a signal for this particular sensors, which is accelerometer based sensor. So based on this, we try to see when the movements are much random, then we are able to see a very high fluctuations in the signals, which are indicating that the slide has started and it is trying to move, or the soil is moving at that particular location. So by using again basic simple physics and a bit into this electronics and signal processing, we could get into a profile which we developed over the time by using a lot of laboratory experiments as well as some field confirmations, that if we can get this is the blue line, what you're seeing, a very smooth line, is what we are getting out of the camera, whereas the hitched line or the rigid or the orange line is what we are getting as a part of the signal after removing the maximum possible noises from this particular thing. And what we are able to see is we are getting a sort of an early prediction, what we call it as a thrust, or just before the movement of the slide, there are thrust which is generated in the soils as well, especially on the surface. So we are able to tap a very good sense, or a very good signal by which we are able to raise something which we call it as a small alert. And then as we move forward, we are able to get into moderate. Up to moderate scale, our sensors have been working to a bit of confidence or reliability, whereas the movement is much higher than our processing, because the sensors have their own limitations on the speed and the accuracy. So we are unable to tap it at that particular stage. So we are saying we are more accurate on the line of initial movement of small and moderate, and we can also tap the large, but yeah, we are not very confident at this particular point of time on this. Luckily, all this information and all these particular details can be found in the literature published from our group as well. And then the concept looks very simple. We take the sensor where we are already seeing some tension cracks or any heave formation or crown formation on the slide on a hill slope, and then we try to put our sensors there. We try to see now if there any continued movement on this particular location. Then we try to we have our signal and warning systems on the field, on the ground, which are connected wirelessly. So they hoot and they blink at the point of time when we understand there is a major change happening on the slope, especially on the movement related. Apart from this, thanks to again this GSM and all the other network options which are available, where we can send all this information into cloud, into your phones, SMS messages and all that. Again, very well demonstrated by Professor Adhikari before this presentation. So our system typically looks like this. Thankfully, all the information, all the sensing units and everything have been developed and processed at IIT Mandi by ourselves. So we hold all the information and all the data, and also the system and accumulation, everything is done by IIT Mandi on the campus itself. And this is the system. When we log it into the system, it is solar powered. It looks on the site, which looks like this, and the warning pole, which I told you, looks something like this, where we have, again, it's solar powered and it has its own sensing, hooting and blinking system, which we try to follow as per the requirements on the ground. So this is the same the starting slide where I showed you on the Kotropi or the Paddar landslide. So we have put our systems there. We have been capturing after the landslide. We understand the cascading effects, as we discussed. We thought that the slide will not stop at a particular event. So we were expecting the further movements to happen also in the following season. So we tried to monitor on this particular season, and we were lucky to get some results at this from this particular station. Again, how we work is simple. We have our own monitoring systems. So we are able to get the sensor. We are trying to get the data. Thanks to again the recent developments in the machine learning and artificial intelligence, they are able to give us a very good idea on how to generate thresholds, how to generate warnings corresponding to the happening of a movement much earlier. We are able to train, or we are able to predict much ahead of time, and then the warning is given in the levels of low, moderate, or high. As one of the case study you can see here, the movements have been integrating from small, and to the end, after almost like an hour, we are able to see that these movements have started to now become moderate. So we gave the warning at this particular point of time, and fortunately, the warning has been confirmed to be positive, and care has been taken that the landslide have the issues with landslide have been avoided. Not the landslide. The landslide still happened, but there was no case of any incident happened in this particular location in Uttarakhand. So again, the things doesn't stop at simple messages and everything. Today, people are looking more of being real time. So we also have generated a simple landslide alert map app, which is yet to get into the public domain. So we are in the testing phase. So we are able to give an idea. The moment you enter into one of the locations where the sensor is there, where our sensors are located, it taps the nearest sensor data, and it tries to tell you how good is it to go ahead. So for example, on the slide itself, you can see we also give you a typical idea about a landslide likelihood, whether it's good to go, it's low, moderate, or high. Accordingly, you can take a chance of whether to travel on this road. The moment it is high, we are giving it to the government officials who are trying to see, or who are trying to arrange alternate routes to avoid the locations where the landslides are happening. Quickly, to close the case, I wanted to show you some landslide cases or occurrences. So these are the monitoring systems as I was saying. So on the displacements, when we see a very high movement which is happening on the site, we try to give a warning. And this particular, the same Kotropi landslide which I showed you in the starting. So fortunately, after that, we have put our sensors there. Next year, 2018, we saw that there were some movements which are happening on this, and we alerted much ahead of time. And there are few of the vehicles which have been stopped, and almost like few of the vehicles have been stopped much before the happening of a landslide. And fortunately, one of them were having one of the news journalists, so they immediately published on the next day itself that the sensing system have worked, and the things have really saved a few of the lives much before entering into the same area of disaster. So there our journey started to somewhere in 2018. Now, when I come to this particular time of 2023-24, our systems are still on, and we are able to give a good amount of warnings and good amount of systems in administration. One more case study quickly, if I can take down. As you can see, there are some messages popped out on this particular slide, where this is the warning WhatsApp group, which is by the district administration of Mandi. So we have given a warning that, in this particular Command Valley, at around 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the evening, we said that there are a lot of messages which are generated, and the first was somewhere around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is 8 o'clock in the evening, and we did not see any reduced alerts. So that's where we gave a warning, and fortunately, immediately after this, at around 1 hour, there is a confirmation email which comes to IIT Mandi that there was a slide which has happened in this particular location, which you are seeing in the image between. Here, typically the lead time is 1 hour, but the confidence is with the warning system has really worked to the time. The same again in 2022 again. Sorry, I should have put 2023. Anyway, so 2022, yet another landslide. We warned around 8 o'clock in the morning, and around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, there was again a landslide which has happened in the same location, which is Mandi, which is in the command. So like this, we also have registered a lot of case studies also in 2023 and 2024. Positive of time, I'm not able to give you more of these details. Coming to the last way forward, again, Professor Adhikari has also have put in a very strong focus on using of these technologies on satellite imaging, especially on the INSAR technologies. We also started to recently work on this particular domain, how satellite imaging can be integrated along with the base stations which are already installing on the field. We are trying to integrate both the information and try to see if, instead of putting a warning only at a particular location, can we give a susceptible warning or a warning in a higher region or a slightly higher domain or a regional scale warning. So this is what we are currently working on. So this after the start of this particular system and everything, thanks again to the government currently, and including the global connections, where we talk about a lot of startups and business which are getting into domain. So we were encouraged that when you are having such a good system which is working and which is on the field, so we immediately started our startup somewhere in 2019, and Currently, we are able to give almost like 60 systems on the field, are already on the field, out of which 45 are live and they are working at any point of time. You can probably look into the website, probably scan this particular image. You can take a screenshot, or you can try to take a photograph later. You can scan this QR code, get into the site. You can also get a live information of the sensors which are working on the field, and the information how we are tapping and how we are giving is available on this particular website of our company, that is Intuit Services Private Limited. So this is a part of a journey which we have. Now we have recently we are now looking into the next area where we want to see how this information can be given fruitfully to the people. We are now trying to get into the local communities and try to see how they can be benefited from this particular thing. We are also developing VR and AR technologies by which we can understand the same susceptibility map. Instead of showing colors, we are trying to give them an animated video or something by which they can understand when such a landslide happens or such a debris flow happens in your particular location at that particular instance, what can be the level of what can be the level of debris, what can be the level of conditions which are happening. Unfortunately, again this year we have seen the issue which popped out in Wayanad, where people, though were warned, could not take action in time. So we wanted to aggravate the situations. We want to make people understand effectively how to take steps to avoid disasters in this particular line. So these are the few of the topics or few of the areas we are working. And fortunately, I have been lucky to get various to a big domain of people who are working, including the computer science faculty, and the students come from various domains, including electrical engineering, computer science. We also have, of course, MBA and people who also look into the domain of the business domain of the company as well. So it's a teamwork definitely when coming into. And thankfully, because of the involvement of the government, especially Himachal Pradesh government, we are able to get to this particular level where we are able to install so many systems and try to avoid major of the disasters happening on these particular locations. And thanks to, again, all the funding agencies, including ISRO, DST, Government of India, NDMA, and Government of Himachal Pradesh, for giving us a tap to move forward and giving us inspiration to continue on the work forward. Thanks again. So this presentation is on behalf of also Dr. Varun Dutt, who is also probably attending in the session, and thanks to AIDMI and as well as the Miyamoto for giving me this opportunity for presenting this small work what we have developed at IIT Mandi. And I'll be happy to take any suggestions or feedback from your side on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Uday. That was really very compelling and very informative. Thank you from, all the audience that we got to get to have a look on the landslide monitoring system, like what are the governing parameters such as the light intensity, the atmospheric pressure, because most usually we get to hear about the rain gauge and the soil moisture, but this was new that that light intensity and atmospheric pressure also plays an important role in the sensor. So, and it was really intriguing to actually, watch the calibration of the sensors. So thank you so much for, saving the lives and actually, helping people out. And I'm sure that, not only Mandi, other parts of India or other parts of the globe, across the globe, people are going to benefit from this technology, and which is at low cost. So that is more crucial. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I'm sure the audience we have has a lot of questions. So I'm going to address some of their questions. So one of the question I have received is like, I'll ask like whosoever is can take up this question, like what are the long-term strategies for ensuring sustainability of landslide risk management programs, particularly in the face of climate change? So Dr. Uday?
Yeah, I think Professor Adhikari can take over.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. This is very pertinent question, and I cannot explain in very short time. But one thing is very important. Whatever we face the challenges in terms of climate change and natural hazard, there are always two aspects, which is mitigation and adaptation. So in the long-term strategy, what I found, what I observed, what I plan in this part of the globe is that the understanding the geomorphology, understanding the changing pattern, to develop the low cost and low tech technology, which is sustainable at the mountainous communities. For example, using nature-based solutions or different low techniques which are indigenous knowledge. For example, people have been living there for centuries. They know how to survive. So we have to respect their opinion, and then we have to translate that in the scientific understanding, and that would be sustainable. And what I say always is that science to the society in the holistic societal perspective. That would be the great initiative from my side.
Yes, very much agreed on the same lines. But wonderful. And one more thing, probably I'll add to Professor Adhikari is one is the changing climate, and the second is what are the adverse effect which is getting in. In few of the areas, it's becoming more hot, but few of the areas we are seeing the intensity of rainfalls have gone to a different extent altogether. So there are few conditions where they are talking about a continuous rainfall happening over a very long time, continued by a small spike of rainfall itself is creating a landslide, which again, the people also in the localities, they confirm that this is not what they are seeing from ages. So we have to see what trends these climate changes are also bringing into different localities, especially when we are talking about mountains and Himalayan regions. It is not a global effect what we can see. It will be more regional, more this thing. So again, the point what Professor Adhikari has told, to bring in more sustainable and more local indigenous knowledge is more important when we are dealing with these situations. Thank you.
So one question I have for you, Dr. Uday, that there are various movements, minor movements we get, so how do you differentiate between those triggering signals, like which one is the massive one, which one is like this is not going to impact anyone? So what is the difference? Like, how does it work?
Okay, to quickly answer your question, one is we look into the risk. It's not the same amount of image or same warning I'm giving across all the stations, all the 60 stations what I have. Few of the locations are like more or less desert. It's mostly on the roads, especially. We are not yet to go into the community level. So we have that a bit of leverage to say that okay, for my small warnings are also fine at this particular moment, because I can stop a vehicle for 10 minutes. If everything is fine, then I can leave them. If the signals are going still on, then I can stop probably for 1 hour. But in the community, I don't want to do this because I don't want make them to run across, or I don't want to shift them for every low warning or whatever we are getting. Now that is exactly where we are trying to integrate now the satellite imaging and other information which is available, especially from INSAR and other information, to make it more applicable. However, our strike rate or the hit rate of the sensing when there is a movement happening on the slope is as good as 98%. So we are getting to see how more confident we can get into, so that we can get into community system, so that now our warnings have more. We have to lessen the false alerts and low level warnings what we are trying to generate. So this is if I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you so much. So we have few more questions, but I will request our audience to reach our experts via email, LinkedIn, so that they can answer your questions particularly, and you can get more insights from them as well. And because we are now on the verge of closing our session, so I would like to conclude this session. So as we conclude this insightful webinar, we are reminded of the power that lies in the convergence of knowledge, innovation, and community action. Our esteemed speakers, Dr. Uday and Dr. Adhikari, have illuminated how we can tackle one of the nature's most unpredictable forces, landslides, with both wisdom rooted in tradition and cutting-edge technology. Together, their contribution underscored the importance of multidisciplinary collaboration in landslide risk management, advocating for a blend of indigenous approaches and cutting-edge technologies to build resilience and safeguard communities. Thank you once again to both our speakers, and let's continue to work on this important work with focus and determination. And one more announcement I would like to make over here, that as this was our second webinar, we are excited to inform you that we are also planning for our third webinar in the month of November. So I would request our audience to stay tuned for more details. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a pleasant day, everyone. Thank you so much. And now, Mihir sir, would you like to say something? We are going. Yes.
No, I just want to echo your thanks to both the experts personally and professionally. This is very succinct and such rich knowledge. I'm really thrilled to see that such work is being done in our region, both in India and Nepal. And my only concern is that how do we multiply and how do we offer more resources and more opportunities to these people and people like this, so that landslide becomes, something which is a tamed risk that it is. Thank you very much to both experts and the audience for the questions that you have asked. They are really very pertinent questions, and we will be addressing them, as we said, in the next webinar that we have. Aditi ji, thank you for taking us through this process in a very gentle but well illuminated manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
So-
much. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
everyone. I would like to close the session now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.